Hey YouTubers, thought I would catch you up a bit on some photography stuff. I've been shooting the Arca Swiss monorail that I got. I think I've shown a picture of it before. If not, one will pop up here somewhere. I only got to shoot it outside very recently, but before that I made up a few shots just in the house here in the basement, some of my gear and some stuff I had laying around, and tried to do some tabletop slash, I guess you call it product photography type stuff. So I'm going to show those images and talk about them just a bit right now, and then I'll move on to the outdoor stuff. I've got a little video that goes with the outdoor shooting that I did yesterday. So let's check out first the sort of tabletop slash product shots that I've been playing with. Okay, here we are in Lightroom, and as I said, I was doing some tabletop photography, which is literally what it sounds like. You set your camera up near a table, you set up some lighting, and you take a shot. It's kind of like product photography or still life or whatever. And so what I was shooting here was a set of drafting tools, my great uncle's drafting tools. I thought these would make a great subject, probably better in color, but all I'm shooting right now is black and white, so that's what I shot. So here's just a couple of photos of sort of the setup that I was using. And you can see how the camera, I'm using some front tilt, some fairly extreme front tilt, to try to keep the depth of field from the front of the box to the back of the box, so I can have all of the kit in focus and nothing else really. That was my main goal, just to see if I could accomplish that. And I only sort of did. One thing I didn't account for is that this is a fairly close focus subject. It's like 1:2. It's not quite full macro like 1:1, but it's roughly 1:2, maybe a little less magnification. So you have to take into account what's called a bellows factor. After you get past a certain amount of extension for closer focus, you have to adjust your exposure to account for that. And I didn't do that. I was way too busy fooling around with the movements trying to get my effects. So you can see the photos are extremely underexposed. I probably could have gone a stop, maybe a little more on the exposure, a stop higher, I mean to say. But I didn't. So this is what I got. Not that great. I'm showing them just to show that, it's pretty easy to screw this stuff up. So moving on, I then moved out where my stereo is and took some pictures of my tape deck. This is a Pioneer RT707. I took a picture of it, and my goal here was, obviously I was kind of coming in from the side. I wanted to keep the whole front panel in focus, and to do that you use what's known as swing. So you get the swing set up to help you get something that's receding, generally a flat object or relatively flat, that's receding away from you, trying to keep its entire surface in focus. And I had pretty good success on this. It's not perfect. This is slightly soft here, but you can read all of the labeling here. You can read this label. Notice that one interesting thing. I did get the focus to stay on the faceplate, so you can read the numbers here. I don't know if I pointed this out, but the numbers on the meters, and even down here on these knobs, it's a little less focused. But notice how anything that's sticking out from the front of the faceplate, the spindle that holds the reel, is out of focus. This one is, and this one is, but this text is in relatively good focus, and the mechanism behind the reel is in very good focus. So as stuff moves out in this third dimension here, I didn't get it in focus. So there are limitations to what you can do, either that or my skill, probably a little of both. But you can see it's fairly effective. This is in focus, the edge of the front panel. It's all in pretty good focus. So I was pretty proud of this one. It's kind of a cool shot of a cool piece of equipment. The other thing to notice is the tapes here. Notice how they fall out of focus, even though this is in focus, all of this stuff is. They start falling out of focus as soon as they kind of leave this plane of the front panel. So anyway, just kind of neat. The next one is a shot of my turntable. This was a lot trickier. The turntable's at a pretty extreme angle to the camera, and I tried to use tilt to get this bubble level in focus and all the way back to the arm, but it just probably wasn't going to happen. I mean, I got fairly extreme, still didn't get a lot of what I wanted. I probably would have run out of lens coverage if I'd kept tilting. So what I did manage to do is get the whole tone arm in focus from back to front for the most part. So, you know, back to here, this is an imperfect focus, but I kept focusing on that. This is the anti-skate sort of weight hanger, and then obviously the cartridge here. And I was trying to kind of keep it in all tight focus, but a little tough for my skills. I'll have to go back to this one. Okay, so yesterday I got out for a little bit of outdoor photography with the Arca Swiss. I packed it up in my Mindshift gear backlight 26L. That's a 26-liter bag. I've done many videos on it. It's the bright green backpack. It perfectly fits in there with just a couple of lenses. I'll show some pictures here. It's working out very well for that specific amount of gear. I couldn't carry one more thing. I can pretty much just carry 3 film holders, the camera, a couple of lenses, my dark cloth, which is a t-shirt, that sort of thing. And I'm getting ready to make a trip here before too long, and I plan on taking the Arca Swiss with me. This will be a challenge. I'm going to be flying, and I'm going to carry it on and all that good stuff. But I felt the need to have a little extra room. So I've procured from Mindshift Gear a 40-liter First Light bag. Not backlight, First Light. They're killing me with the names. Anyway, that's on the way. That's going to be a much bigger bag. Give me a little more room to work with. The thing I got to be careful about is not to pack it full, because yesterday I was carrying around about 20 pounds, maybe a little more with all that gear in it. If I add much more, it will be painful to carry around the airport. So anyway, let's move on to some of the video I shot while I was out and about, and we'll look at the photos also. Hey YouTubers, I'm in Littleton Cemetery. Decided I really needed to find some subject that I wanted to shoot, just more or less to burn some film, even though that sounds crazy on large format because film is kind of expensive. I finally opened this box of Tri-X that's like 20 years old. I got off eBay. The guy claims he's had it frozen the whole time. He was the original buyer. I may take it on an upcoming trip, and so I got to make sure the film works. So I'm just out here. I think a cemetery is a pretty good subject because there tend to be interesting perspectives, and so I'm trying to take advantage of that and kind of practice with movements, that is camera movements, and you know, kind of see what I can learn and hopefully get some reasonable shots. This is slow. This is really slow going. It just took me at least a half an hour to take one shot, so I'm not sure I'm going to have enough time, and I'm rambling. I didn't prepare for this little piece of video I'm shooting here, so I'm just rambling. Anyway, in this video I'm going to share the results of this stuff and talk a little bit about how the camera is set up, and I am shooting the Arca Swiss today, so this video will probably get a little bit ahead of the overview of the Arca Swiss itself. So what are you going to do? Okay, here's the first shot that I took this weekend at the cemetery. I was drawn to this shot by kind of the circular composition with the dark foreground. This was in pretty heavy shade. Well, it varied a lot because the day was cloudy and then sunny, then cloudy, then sunny. It was pretty tough to make exposures on this day, but the idea was you got the fairly heavy shade and then you got the graveyard grounds out in the background that would be lit up. And it kind of worked out. By the way, I was shooting about almost 30-year-old Tri-X 320 sheets that I got off of eBay. They did not like being underexposed, and this image is a touch underexposed. I've made some adjustments to it, but you can see it's fairly grainy looking, especially for 4x5. So My goal here was to get the back of the bench in focus and then to get things in the distance in focus. And I didn't do too great. Now, I haven't sharpened this at all. It's almost acceptable, but I didn't really meet my goal. So anyway, you can kind of see the effects, though, of using tilt. So I was using forward tilt on this to have my foreground and the background in focus. And you can see just how out of focus things closer are, and they get more so near the top of the frame. And look at the tree. The tree is in focus at the bottom and gets out of focus as it goes up. And this is one of these trade-offs that you live with using movements on a view camera. So let's move on to the next photo. Now this photo was the second I took, and my idea here was to get all of this in focus and to get all the background headstones in focus as well. So this was a bit of a challenge. This took both front tilt to get near and far in focus and a bit of swing to get this receding flat surface in focus. I didn't nail it 100%. Like, this is in good focus, and again, I haven't sharpened this. This is in good focus. This is in marginal focus. You can see as it goes up, it gets out of focus. That's because of the tilt, and then the lower half is more in focus. I think I was concentrating on getting this part of the headstone in focus and then sort of lost it on this stuff. Similar to what I was talking about with my tape deck, where the things that protruded out from the tape deck were not in focus, whereas the flat faceplate was. So it mostly worked here, but look how quickly things fall out of focus up here. It's just kind of interesting how the effect works. And the bottom of the tree is out of focus, then midway up it's in focus, then it falls out of focus again. The headstones are all in fairly good focus if I don't zoom in too much, but yeah, they're reasonable. Again, unsharpened. This is pretty sharp. But you see how you have trade-offs when you do the tilt and the shift combined on a landscape like this. Then at the very top, the overhanging evergreen branches are way out of focus. So it's kind of an interesting combination of effects, and I've got a lot more learning to do on how to set this stuff up. A little bit of a catch-up on what I've been doing in terms of using the Arca Swiss monorail camera. I've also been shopping for an alternative field camera. As I mentioned in a prior vlog, the lens board situation with the Horseman makes it a little less attractive. I'd kind of like to have a camera that takes lens boards that will just work on my Arca Swiss with the Technica adapter I have on it. So I've been looking around a bit. I actually purchased off of eBay a Wista 45DX. That's a wooden camera, so it's real old school. It's really pretty, wood and brass. But the seller claimed that the bellows were good and there were no light leaks, and that turned out not to be true. Of course, the first thing I do, I get home, I get it in the dark and I check for light leaks, and it had at least 3. I found 3. There were probably more. So I ended up sending that back. So I'm still kind of on the hunt, but obviously I can suffer with the Horseman 45A for my lightweight setup, and I'll just take my time, at least as well as I can do that, on a replacement field camera for that. So I know I've got a lot of other stuff to do. I want to do a video about the Arca Swiss and all the movements it has and how that works. That'll come up eventually. I still got to talk about my whole office and desk setup. There's a lot of stuff. I'll try to catch up. I've just been so busy, just haven't had time to do a lot of video stuff. So enough said. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.